Mental health of children is important issue. City cleaners calling for funding support. And famous Hiritano Highway celebrates 40 years.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the news. This is Monday. It is only practical and about time each family and government seriously consider child and adolescent care, for they are the future of this country. These were the words of PNG Psychiatrics Association President Dr. Uma Ambi today at a media conference about World Mental Health Day. World Mental Health Day falls on the 10th of October every year with the theme Young People and Mental Health in a Changing World.
Adolescence and early years of adulthood are a time of life when many changes occur in a child's life. These are exciting times, however, there can also be times of stress. And if not recognized and managed, these feelings can lead to mental illness. PNG Psychiatric Association President Dr. Uma Ambi says this year's World Mental Health Day is about raising awareness among adolescents and young adults of ways to look after their mental health.
What am I calling on the World Mental Health Day, October 10th? And we call upon invest in our children. And what is the theme? The young people and mental health in the changing world. This is time for us to change as a nation, as a family. And what will I say? Investment of government and the involvement of the social, health and education sectors in comprehensive, integrated, evidence-based programs for mental health and young people is essential.
Most of all mental health conditions start at 14 years of age, and most cases are undetected and untreated, which causes illness, disabilities, or suicide among adolescents. Dr. Ambi says mental health promotion and prevention are key to helping adolescents thrive, and this is the aim of this year's World Mental Health Day celebrations.
How you want the country to be, how you want the children to be. And I think it's all goes calling, there is a big call for parents and education sectors and other government agencies who deal with the child and adolescents and youth. It's a huge call. They have done great things, but this is a day we wanted to strengthen that call to rethink and look better for the more positive outcome.
She said prevention starts with being aware and understanding the early signs of mental illness. She appealed to the government and all families to invest in their children, for mental health is a vital part of their growth and development. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
After cleaning up 30 locations across Port Moresby City for the past 5 months, volunteers calling themselves City Rangers are calling on the National Capital District Commission to fund their efforts. Out of 1,660 volunteers, a dozen today approached EMTV to air their concerns about the lack of support. Founder of the City Rangers, James Silas, says the volunteers have been cleaning the city for 5 months since June this year to keep the city clean and tidy, ready for the 2018 APEC Leaders Summit.
Are unemployed mothers who joined to clean and keep the city spotless. From the 1,660 volunteers, 660 of them are youths. Founder James Silas says the project, after 5 months of operation, should be enough to convince the city manager to grant a contract.
We will not give up. Whatever we talk is our boss, and we can try to look or when I'm walking and we play walking. The very mothers that normally sell bitter nuts down there, do the market and give more problem to the police and NCT police and all these things. Yeah. Now all turning bell care. Now they want to clean the city, so Port Moresby town is very clean. You come to Koki, they're doing the cleaning. You go to Gero, they're doing the cleaning. You come to Wagani Drive, Gardens, all these areas, City Rangers mothers are in full swings.
The mothers and youths you see cleaning the city are victims of some form of abuse and violence who have turned to doing something great for the city.
1,000 50 and more mama. You see the mothers at the back? They're the ones they are unemployed mothers, especially all widow mothers.
These volunteers are now calling on NCD Governor Powes Pakop to look into the matter and assist.
Problem at Gordon's, it's not a problem to me. I can clean it. But once we are funded, I will make sure that I'll put 30 drums here or 50 drums and more of the rubbish will be moved. We will educate our people. City rangers, we are yet to educate the people to be responsible.
James says the plan is to continue cleaning the city even after the APEC meeting in Port Moresby.
What we have faced since we work in Port Moresby about 5 months, so we didn't see any good result of it.
Mibla all katameri mibla hard work law cleaning staff. No at feblo mibla.
Mama come up here today, all like talk Savelo city manager or same. This la mama all by no give up, all by no have losing because all cleaning. 30 locations, all this la mama 1,600 also work.
5 months mibla work yet stop. Continue on work yet.
Godwin Eki, National MTV News.
Meanwhile, NCD Governor Powes Pakop has agreed to speak on camera tomorrow in regards to the 1,660 volunteers who are helping to keep Port Moresby City clean. Ana Pinu, a local businesswoman whose business has survived post-independence up till now, celebrated 40 years of service in the Karuku district on Saturday. Ana's business, Rorobana, is located along the Hiritano Highway, commonly known as Agevairu, a central stopover for commuters travelling to villages stretching far into the Gulf province or for those travelling into Port Moresby. In recent times, it has become a common trading place for betel nut buyers and sellers.
Anna and late husband Frank Muir started their business here on October 8, 1978. Initially, Anna operated a shop in her village of Hisiu before the couple and their 2 children then came to this location on the Hiritano Highway. Back in the days when women were not given many opportunities, Anna explained how determined she was.
I finished at year 3. And sisters were so hard, and I said, I'm going to run away and help my mom. So I stayed back. I didn't go back to school. I stayed with my mom, and I helped her. And slowly I saw the life was so hard, and I said, I'm not going to stay here. I'm going to get out. My brother Gabriel Pinu went to university. Peter Pinu went to university. They got good jobs, and I look up at them. And I said, no, I'm going to work this way to catch them. So that's how I made it. I work. I even drive big trucks. And why I married my husband was he saw me working like a man. So he said, that's the woman I'm looking for.
On Saturday, Anna, her children, grandchildren and extended family members were joined by the surrounding community to celebrate 40 years of the family's business that has grown from selling goods on the back of a truck to include a shop, a large service station, tire service and a bakery. The challenges of running a business are many, but for Anna, her faith and religion is visible here. On Saturday, the local priest was invited to bless the very first home they set up in 1978. Daughter Marsha Miwa, winner of Miss PNG in 1991 and former MTV News anchor, grew up at Rorobana.
This was our caravan. It belonged to Curtin Brothers because they were doing the work on the highway and they left it here. And that's why it's still got that number. We've just painted over it. And this was the kitchen and there was the sleeping area. And this area was just the bathroom and walk-in area. And then our actual shop was the back of a truck. Yeah, so Mum and Dad would put all the goods in the back of the truck, sell at night and then daytime and evening, and then when they closed then they covered everything up and we would sleep in here. My grandfather would sleep in here with a shotgun because this is all bushland.
Local MP Peter Isoaimo, who was invited, spoke of the challenges of running a business outside of the city where electricity, running water are yet to be connected after 43 years.
New Zealand government gave us 11 NZ dollars, which is about 22 million kina. We used half of the money to put power through to Vesulogo and to Owens Corner and all those areas who've been left out in the last 43 years. The other half is now connecting Sabuza into Brown River. I am trying my very, very best to secure additional funding so we can keep pulling power up our way. Yeah? Power is a necessity for business and SMEs and whatever else. You know, I don't know how Auntie Anna has managed to put up with generator and, you know, diesel expenses over 40 years. That she is a real role model.
With all the highway people, Kerames, Koilales, everybody who is traveling on the highway, help me to stand up to this. Boys robbed me, did everything, but like Father said, I keep forgiving. Life is to live. If I think about all those things, I wouldn't be here.
A cake was cut to mark Warabana's 40th anniversary. Many other activities on Saturday included singing, dancing and games. Adelaide Sirox Kari, National, EMTV News.
Counting for the Motu Koita elections will commence this week. According to the Motu Koitabu Assembly Election 2018 Facebook page, counting was supposed to commence this morning at the Sir John Guy's Indoor Complex, but this did not eventuate. The counting will determine representatives of the Motu Koitabu Assembly, a chairperson, 14 ward councillors and 2 women's representatives, 1 for East and 1 for West. Last week, polling was conducted by 36 teams at allocated polling sites. This includes 23 teams for the West, 11 teams for the East and 2 mobile teams. The mobile teams were placed to cater for voters with special needs. A total of 125 candidates have been nominated to contest the Motu Koitabu elections. The wards in Motu Koitabu West are Araira, Baruni, Elevala Lahara, Elevala Laurabada, Elevala Mirigini, Poribada Lahara, Poribada Laurabada and Tatana. The wards in Motu Koitabu East are Kirakira, Korbosea, Mahuru, Pari Taoata, Pari Taurama and Vabukori. Over 100 ballot boxes have already been transported to the counting venue after polling last week. The National Fisheries Authority, in partnership with the Milne Bay Provincial Government, have worked together to build a market and fisheries project for the people of Milne Bay. NFA Managing Director John Kasu, during the groundbreaking ceremony on Saturday, said NFA will work together with all partners to have this project delivered on time and on budget.
Go.
The market project is part of NFA's program to build good markets accessible to the people of PNG. The new market and the fisheries project will be constructed by the Dai Nippon Construction Company. NFA Managing Director John Kasu said the company was involved in many major projects in the country and is confident that the company will deliver the project on time. NFA is concerned about developing fisheries projects in maritime provinces in the country.
As the executing agency, I assure you and JICA of NFA's commitment and cooperation throughout the construction and commissioning of this facility at the end of the contract period. Finally, I would like to thank the Department of the National Planning and Monitoring, the Milne Bay Provincial Administrations for the mutual cooperation in ensuring this project reaches this stage.
Alatau MP Charles Abel was happy that NFA has taken the initiative to build this market. He thanked the government of Japan for funding this project, saying the project will help strengthen the relationship between the two countries. He added that Alatau will now see major infrastructure development taking place, including new Big Rooster and Donut King outlets in Alatau town.
All this road is going to be sealed, the footpath, the lighting, the parks, the toilets, and it's all going to marry in so that Alatau town is slowly getting bigger and better. You know that the mall over there that we are building is still going on. The 5 million kina came from the PNG government that I brought down, and the 30 million kina from the World Bank will come help us to polish off the mall and continue these other works, including some other investment into tourism that we'll be doing.
Meanwhile, the people will be using the temporary markets until the construction of the new market is completed. After the completion of the new market, the temporary markets will be converted into office spaces for the Kenu and Kundu Festival and tourism. The 33 million kina project was funded by the government of Japan through JICA ODA Grant Fund. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We go for a first break now, but stay tuned for more of today's other stories when we come back. Welcome back. The building housing National Broadcasting Corporation's provincial studios in Lae was condemned today by PNG Power after it was deemed unsafe for staff. The 47-year-old building has seen little maintenance over the past decade. The roof and the ceiling are damaged and water has been leaking into the main studio over the past week. This morning, an electrical fault nearly started a fire. Staff said they are moving to a temporary location. Many people in rural Morobe still depend heavily on the services of Radio Morobe. West New Britain has become the 7th provincial government to partner with the PNG Investment Promotion Authority in promoting services related to business, companies and association registration. The MOU now allows for the setting up of a help desk at the West New Britain Provincial Commerce Office to facilitate business registration and related activities.
With the signing of today's MOU, West New Britain now becomes the 7th provincial government to agree to establish a help desk to assist its citizens access IPA services. According to IPA Managing Director Clarence Hood, this is part of the organization's efforts to expand its services in more centers across the country.
So by signing the MOUs, there are a number of things that we undertake with the provincial administration, and some of those include providing all the services that the IPA provides here at headquarters and also in our 4 regional offices. In the past, they had to fly over either to Kokopo or to Port Moresby just to register a business.
West New Britain Governor Sasindran Mutuvel witnessed the signing. In thanking the IPA for extending its services, the governor said this would assist more people in his province to venture into businesses, particularly given there is a surplus of disposable income in the province.
West New Britain being an economical province and the most successful in agriculture, and people do have disposable income compared to any other provinces. So this is the right move for us to have an understanding with IPA, so that, as our MD alluded, that people do not have to go all the way to Kokopo or all the way to Moresby to travel, risking sometimes, even by road, risking life.
The establishment of a help desk in Kimbe will make it easier for the registration of businesses and cut down on high transportation costs, which have been a major hindrance in the past.
I'm happy that this centralization of the functions to the province and devolving the such powers are giving us the opportunity and privilege now to have our office base in Kimbe.
Following the signing, the IPA will send a team to the province to carry out training for provincial commerce staff and bring them up to speed with IPA system requirements.
But it doesn't stop there. Our challenge is now to continue to provide the training so our staff at the provincial administration are able to keep up to speed with technology and the processes that we undertake here at the national level.
Meribatulo, National EMTV News.
Fathers and boys from a Seventh-day Adventist church in Western Highlands Province have taken it upon themselves to build a vital footbridge for their community. They are the Good Samaritans of the Warakum SDA Church in Mount Hagen. The footbridge is the third to be built from their own money.
This is one of the street roads in Mount Hagen City, connecting the city residents as well as the locals into the city. It borders the Ward 7 and 8 areas of Mount Hagen T and Warakum. The city's cemetery is also located there. The area has a population of 8,000 people, which makes up roughly 60% of the Mount Hagen City residents. Due to a flooding from the nearby creek in December of 2016, this section of the road was washed away. Since then, school students from the other side of the road have found it difficult to walk across to the nearby school. It has handicapped movement of these city dwellers. The Good Samaritan Department of the Warakum SDA Church saw the need to construct a temporary footbridge to allow students to go to school, as well as allowing their church members on the other side of the road to go to church.
Six. I mean, did we go down? Now you know how man nabla crossing na go lo nabla side. Osem so nibla church nibla look him. Osem maybe got nabla need long, help more people along cross over this road, because this access I cut off, totally cut off. So me committing this time long, can't put in this footbridge.
This is the third time the Warakum Good Samaritans have built a footbridge to help the community they live in. They have built a footbridge at Kuya for the local Moge people and another at Rambo Road for another Moge tribe.
Help na need stuff. Some government agencies or one me need to look in this place when we play stuff when we play in the little clients live here. And big plan number population belong in the okay 8,000 and big plan number. And this 8,000 and make him come up in Hagen City here. And this land makes us Hagen City main road. Cut off low. This school to go around him also low. Warakum has in my case.
Their leader, Peter Gula, says it is part of their community service and outreach program. They constructed this bridge at a cost of 500 kina. Fascinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Construction work on the Numbo Bridge in the Yanguru Sausia district will be carried out by the East Sepik Provincial Works Department. The bridge will be built at Handra, near the proposed site of the newly launched Numbo Junior High School. It will cost a total of 10 million kina.
Numbo is one of the 4 LLGs in the Yanguru Sausia district. It is home to an estimated 20,000 people. Though located near Yanguru Station, it lacks a proper road network, health facilities and a bridge. The Works Department in East Sepik has been engaged to build the bridge which will link people living on the other side of Numbo.
Works Department may plakat big plan mama so seb. May provide coordinate them this project. May plan mama slow good plan minister me. Minister, we got him dreams. Now we send the people on Numbo. Lord, bring him this service. He come back long. People on Numbo.
The building of this asset is predicted to boost economic growth in the LLG. A larger population in Numbo are subsistence farmers who grow cocoa and coffee, but because of the bad road conditions, most do not get the chance to sell their produce.
Mi personi model contractor now bol kamin na start lo construction me apelong lilichab lo mi cancel on the line lo anda by personab na turugo on the contractor when a bridging all same or by blo maskati no access road lo paksat na kami gona go lo absadem sanim blo want mo works to sort him out, but please handa you block operator.
The engagement by the Works Department is the first of its kind for the district, and the local MP has urged the department to ensure the bridge is of standard. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The donation of a school truck to the Kubalia Secondary School in East Sepik Province marks the beginning of a new era for the students and its administration. The school was seen struggling to operate after it received no funding support from the national government through the tuition fee-free policy this year. As a result, the school administration charged parents a project fee of 250 kina per student and used the money to fund the school's operation.
The presentation of the vehicle comes after a new governing council was formed and a new acting head teacher appointed. Since the beginning of this academic year, the school has not benefited from tuition fee-free funding and has a debt of over 270,000 kina. As a result of mismanagement, the current administration is still trying to repay this debt.
Minister, we are thankful for you that you have come to our assistance to secure our school from falling and revive it again when our TFF was not found. We appreciate the formation of the new governing council and also are happy to see that the school is now in operation.
Kubalia, a boarding school, is one of 5 secondary schools in the Yanguru Sausia district that provides education for students, mostly in the Sausia LLG. The school has enrolled close to 8,000 students. Half of them will be sitting the 2018 grades 10 and 12 national examinations.
Some school like pass, people are to the provincial government. You will say how much money you'll give him. 50,000. All give 50,000. Now, honorable minister and a member of Yubla, M. Sanaplo Mosby, M. Party Table Law, Education Department, now only releasing 270,000. On top of this law, now I'm buying car law 200,000. I'm going to 570,000.
The presentation of the new school track marks a promising start for Kubalia Secondary, as it is slowly recovering from its debts. The local MP has pledged a 100,000 kina support to renovate teachers' houses and build a mess facility.
Future school is stable school. Management and discipline. So, Mr. Chairman, Education Advisor, I want the best principal you can give me next day in school. I want the best principal. Someone experienced, competent, enough running the school and help me to build this institution. So as you go through your process of selection, give me the best for Kubalia. And very important. Chairman, because if you give me a full proposal on mass now, everything, starting with the first 100,000, I want you to give me the full requirements of this school as soon as you can.
Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
All 35 teachers of Gantom Primary School in Leh who were affected with pay cuts to their salaries said they are being cheated by the government. The teachers said they are not being paid according to the approved salary scale. With the deductions of almost 300 kina each from their salaries, again they've called on the government for a proper explanation.
The teachers gathered this morning during their tea break to discuss on the pay cuts to their salaries for the last 3 fortnights. The pays for all 35 teachers, including the head teacher, were cut.
I was deducted, my pay was deducted two fortnights, pay 18 and pay 20. 200 kina was deducted, and I don't know why my 200 kina was deducted. And I want the government to come out clear and tell us why only working all these deductions. 200 kina I no sabe because I don't have a pay slip to tell me where my 200 kina went to. So I need to have my pay slip so that I will know. Only the people collect from the salaries, but some of us, we cannot go there every payday and collect our pay slips from the salaries. And at this time, I think most of the teachers, we are now in the dark. Why our 100 kina and our 150 kina and 200 kina has been deducted. They have to make it clear where that money went to. Deduction 200 kina and go low when them half me like save. Government must come out clear. They are only telling us that they are paying us 3%, 3%, they are 3% me like some teachers, I don't think they know the amount of money out of the 3% they also have learned.
A teacher who received 50 kina last fortnight managed to obtain his payslip, but there was no information on why 350 kina was removed from his net pay. For others, they were not able to get their payslip from salary division because of requirements imposed by the division of Morobe.
Looking at the salary scale, I can say that most of our teachers are cheated from their salaries. Most of them have been cheated. They're not being paid according to the salary scales. And from the 3% increment that was paid between pay 13 and pay 18, I would say that wasn't the 3%. Maybe that was just the underpayment that was not being paid in the previous salary scale. Okay, the current salary scale that we have, the 3% is already been incorporated into the salary that we have. So, seeing that, I think that the salaries and the TSC should come clear to us why these things are happening.
The teachers have again called on the government and the department for a proper explanation on the 3% increment and the underpayment of salaries between 2013 to 2016.
Every spreadsheet contains 3 pages, but we are normally given 2 pages, the first and the second. The third one, they don't give it to us. So after I got the third page, I realized that when I went through it, I realized that some of the most important information that we should find out about our salaries are never given to us because it is contained on the third page.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Lake.
You're at Monday's News. Up next, stories making headlines overseas. Stay tuned for the details. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas now, more heartbreaking details are emerging about a crash in the US. A 30th birthday celebration tragically ending with 20 people dead after a limo plowed off the road in upstate New York, and among the dead, all 18 on board, along with 2 pedestrians.
Tonight, the NTSB investigating the country's deadliest transportation accident in nearly a decade. 20 people killed on an upstate New York highway when officials say a limousine blew through a stop sign, plowing through this intersection and into a parking lot of a restaurant, slamming into a parked, unoccupied SUV. Investigators today sifting through the wreckage, this man carrying a wheel out of the bushes.
From your experience, just a word about the magnitude of this.
20 fatalities is just horrific. This is the most deadly transportation accident in this country since February of 2009.
The incident happening around 2 p.m. Saturday. According to the aunt of one of the victims, the limousine, a modified 2001 Ford Excursion, was packed with people celebrating a birthday. All 18 inside, including 2 newlyweds and the driver, killed.
I had 4 nieces. They're all dead. They were in there.
2 other pedestrians nearby struck in the crash, did not survive. Witnesses describe a horrific scene.
I heard this loud bang, and then I heard screaming.
Emergency crews from several areas dispatched to assist. This, the latest deadly accident involving a limo. In 2014, 1 person was killed and comedian Tracy Morgan seriously injured. And in 2013, 5 people killed when this limo carrying a bachelorette party in San Francisco ignited. The passengers trapped inside.
A diplomatic battle is growing after Turkish officials accuse Saudi Arabia of murdering a well-known Saudi journalist inside his consulate in Istanbul. Jamal Khashoggi often criticized the Saudi government and hasn't been seen since visiting the consulate.
Jamal Khashoggi mysteriously disappeared or brutally murdered. The high-profile journalist and Saudi dissident has long been a thorn in the side of his government. He hasn't been seen since entering the Saudi consulate in Istanbul last Tuesday to get marriage papers. His Turkish fiancée waiting outside sounded the alarm when he didn't emerge. Turkey says it believes Mr. Khashoggi was killed in the consulate in a premeditated murder involving a Saudi hit squad who removed his body. The Saudis called that baseless, touring a camera crew around the consulate, opening cupboards in a bizarre attempt to show the journalist is not inside. They claim he left the building and don't know where he is.
I would like to confirm that the citizen Jamal is not at the consulate, nor in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
The Turkish president said police are examining CCTV footage and called Mr. Khashoggi a friend.
My expectations are still positive. God willing, we do not face a situation that we do not want. His fiancée's hopes are the same.
If it's proved that Jamal Khashoggi's life ended here, it would plunge already strained Turkey-Saudi relations into crisis and could also force London, Washington and other Western governments to radically rethink their embrace of Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The new Saudi image would no longer be one of reform, but of state-sponsored murder on foreign soil. From exile in the US, he wrote for The Washington Post. It left a blank space for Jamal Khashoggi's regular article, saying it would be monstrous and unfathomable if he'd been killed.
The world has just been giving air-raising ultimatum in one of history's most critical climate change reports. Nearly 90 scientists from 39 countries have spent 3 years on planet-saving plan. Carrying it out would be dramatic and life-changing measures for everyone. The report says the world's temperatures are on track to raise 3 degrees above pre-industrial levels this century. We are already a degree into that and heading to 1.5 by as early as 2030.
A decade. That's how long scientists say we have to change our ways or face catastrophic damage to our planet.
We are at the crossroads, and what is going to happen from now until 2030 is critical, especially for CO2 emissions.
The solution? Keeping global temperatures from rising another ½ degree this century and reaching net zero in carbon dioxide emissions by 2050.
Limiting warming to 1.5 degrees is not impossible, but will require unprecedented transitions in all aspects of society.
No one says it's easy, but it is essential. Compared to keeping temperature rises under 2 degrees, this new goal would save hundreds of millions more from the risks of climate change, lower loss of wildlife, and halve the number of people facing water shortages.
It's very clear that ½ degree matters.
It matters especially to places like Vietnam, one of the countries most vulnerable to climate change. Salt water is killing crops, and it's getting so hot, farmers are now working at night. And climate change is having a huge impact on island nations, including New Zealand.
A lot of our cities exposed to coastal storms, but also as a small trading nation that punches above our weight with a strong agricultural sector, this is a real challenge.
As well as deep emission reductions and more investment in low carbon options, regular people need to act too. The experts say we must make urgent and drastic lifestyle changes, from how we get to work to what we eat. And that we must use technology to counter damage done, like this Swiss machine which sucks carbon dioxide from the air.
It is our vision to capture 1% of global CO2 emissions in 2025.
Back here, the government is preparing its zero carbon bill.
That is broadly consistent with what this report says. So in that sense, if there was some good news to take out of it, it would be that our current direction is on track.
It also announced it'll plant 1 billion trees in 10 years.
We've told you the scientific facts, the evidence, the costs. It is up to the governments now to decide what to do with it.
In the limited time they have left.
There's National EMTV News. Stay tuned for some sporting updates and Chukai Sports coming up next. Don't go away.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. To boxing, President John Avira says preparations for this year's National Boxing Tournament are well underway to be staged in Port Moresby in December. He says a team of 20 selected athletes are training in their respected clubs in preparations for next year's Pacific Games in Samoa.
Avira says this year's national championships, planned to take place in December, will not only feature the best from each province, but also have boxers selected for the 2019 Pacific Games use the tournament as part of their preparations for the Pacific Games.
And confirm that we will conduct the national championship in Port Moresby in the second week of December. This national championship will be our normal national championship, but we also will finalize the Pacific Games training squad.
He says from the 20 athletes currently in training for the Pacific Games, the number will be trimmed down to 11 athletes who will then go into camp in preparations for next year's Pacific Games.
Our national coaches are training with them. The intention of the national, obviously, apart from our normal national championship, we will now ask them to come and participate in the national championship. To confirm their listing, we need to cut it down to 11 team going to the Pacific Games.
Avira says the other main focus for PNG Boxing Federation, apart from the Pacific Games, will be to identify and select 2 male and 1 female for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics.
Obviously, we have a schedule ahead. 2019 will be the Pacific Games, and also 2020 we have our Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. So we kind of preparing towards the big Olympic game that is coming in 2020.
Meanwhile, Avira says since the last PNG Games, a lot of raw talents were identified, especially female boxers who are beginning to take part or join the sport of boxing. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
The Port Moresby Racquet Club held their junior squash competition presentation over the weekend. The competition ran for 8 weeks with a total of 24 juniors taking part in the tournament.
A good number of junior squash players from around the nation's capital make time available every Saturdays to attend the development program run by coach Madako Suari Jr. The program has been running for 12 months, with 2 juniors being selected into the PNG train-on squad for next year's Pacific Games.
We've currently got two of our top male and female juniors in the train-on squad for the Pacific Games in Samoa. Chris Whitchurch and Amity Alakos. They're currently training at the High Performance Center at the Taramo Aquatic Center.
Junior squash competitions held at the club help players improve and put to practice what they've learned from the program. Amity Alakos and Chris Whitchurch have been part of the junior development program and under the guidance of Madako Suari Jr. and squash director Merlin Kribich. They have attended different tournaments overseas.
They are now representing junior tournaments in Australia and in the Pacific region. So they've come through our junior development, and now we're having 12 more juniors in our program, which is a great positive field for squash in the country.
This is the second time a junior squash competition was organized, with the first held last year.
The training we do, it's to get you ready for the matches, and match play is very important in squash. And for us to run a junior comp, this is the second time we've run a junior comp. In 2017 we tried one out, and this is the second time.
The 8-week-long competition saw juniors put into 6 teams, with the finals being held over the weekend. Truka Industries and Colgate-Palmolive sponsored a few prizes for the presentation. Elijah Levette, National EMTV Sports.
And Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. All Blacks flanker Sam Cane has had surgery in South Africa after scans revealed he fractured his neck in the win over the Springboks in Pretoria. Cane will miss the end-of-year tour, but he is expected to make a full recovery.
It looked like any other ruck collision, but Sam Cane's attempted hit on Springboks loose forward Francois Lowe will see him miss months of rugby.
Okay, all right. Oh, he's uncomfortable, isn't he?
Sam Kane.
Uncomfortable for good reason.
He's got a small fracture in the lower part of his neck on the right side through one of the joints, and this will need to be stabilised.
Kane had surgery in a Johannesburg hospital overnight and will now begin the road to recovery.
Like any fracture, it takes a couple of weeks and months, so it'll probably take about 3 months for the bone to get strong, but we'll just take it step by step.
He hasn't suffered any nerve damage but will remain in South Africa for the rest of the week before flying home next weekend. As for if he'll play again...
Many sportsmen have had this injury, and people in other walks of life, and they usually make a good recovery.
So as expected, he's going to make a full recovery and be back playing.
The 60-test All Black will definitely miss the end-of-year tour, and with Matt Todd currently in Japan, it opens the door for someone else to force their way in. The Blues' Blake Gibson, or the Highlanders' Dylan Hunt.
Gatlin deep, charge, could be a try, will be a try, Dylan Hunt.
Considered the contenders, one of them likely for the end-of-year tour squad, a squad that will be without Sam Kane.
And that story wraps up Trukai Sports for tonight. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region: fine weather in Daru and Kerema, fine and sunny in Alatau, fine with a bit of cloud in Popondetta, and well, mostly fine weather in Port Moresby. In the Momasa region, fine although cloudy in Lae, cloudy with some showers in Wau, fine sunny weather in Madang, showers in Wewak and few showers in Whanimore. In the New Guinea Islands region, showers in Lorengau, cloudy with some showers in Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe, and a few showers in Buka. And in the Highlands region, few showers right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi, and Wabag. Forecast for small ships: there is a renewal strong wind warning for all coastal waters. Strong southeast winds of 20 to 34 knots are expected to continue for the next 24 hours, causing rough seas. All small crafts and boats are advised to take necessary precautions before and after going out to sea. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours: waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerema, Yule Island to Hood Point to Samari Island, with waters of eastern and western Milne Islands, and with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 metres. Waters of Samari Island to Cape Vogel and Finschhafen, with waters of Long Island to Madang to Bogia to Wewak to Aitape to Whanimore to northern PNG Indonesian border, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 metres. Waters of Finschhafen through Vetias and Dampier Straits to Siasi Islands to Long Island, and with waters of West New Britain, seas of 2 to 3 metres. And waters of New Island to East New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 1.5 to 2.5 metres. Ocean forecast for PNG areas: in the Coral Sea, seas moderate with southeast winds at 15 to 20 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas moderate with southeast winds at 15 to 20 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas moderate with southeast winds at 15 to 20 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight to moderate with southeast winds at 10 to 20 knots.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's how it is in the news for today, Monday, the 8th of October 2018. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.